We accept the love we think we deserve.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. You got your boy Smash here. This is my new series where we're jumping into some of the books on the banned book list. What we want to do here is we want to take a look at why some of these books have been banned and how you can access books that may have been banned in your area. And we're also going to talk about the danger of banning books and why it's so important to keep all books, even the books that you don't like or agree with, available to anyone who wants to read them. Now, if you like what you see and you want to support the cause, don't forget to follow and smash that like button. And of course, hit the little bell icon so you'll be ready when my next video drops. Now, for my second video in the series, I decided to go with the book that went from assigned reading in some high schools to being on the banned book list. Today, we're going with The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky.
The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky was published in 1999. It was actually published by MTV. Now, people my age remember when MTV used to only play music videos. As a teenager, that's where I heard all the new music. It's kind of crazy to think, but some people watching this video are too young to have ever watched a music video on MTV. Kids, MTV was the YouTube and TikTok of our time. And for anybody who grew up watching videos on MTV, does this make you feel as old as it makes me feel? Alright, rant over, back to business. In the 90s, MTV jumped into creating its own content. That included TV shows, movies, and even books. The Perks of Being a Wallflower was actually the first book they'd ever published. And to this day, even all these years later, it's the most popular among the 60-plus books they released. For many years, it was assigned reading in schools across the country. In fact, in 2012, Wallflower reached the New York Times bestseller list and was made into a movie. I'm actually using some of the imagery from the movie in the video here today. Set in the early 1990s, The Perks of Being a Wallflower follows Charlie, a socially awkward and introverted 15-year-old who documents his experience through letters to an anonymous recipient. Every letter starts "Dear Friend" and ends with "Love always, Charlie." Through his letters, Charlie tells a tale of teenage angst, emotion, and repressed memories finally surfacing. The novel explores the complexities of adolescence, friendship, and self-discovery. And the story does dive into sensitive topics, such as suicide, homosexuality, drug use, abortion, domestic abuse, and sexual assault. So if anything like that is too much for you, I want to give you fair warning before I get into any of it. You can turn this off now. At the start of the story, Charlie lost his only middle school friend when he decided to take his own life. Charlie already had a strained concept of death, having blamed himself for the death of his Aunt Helen, who died on the way to go buy him a present for his 7th birthday. His older brother just left for college, and his sister will be graduating soon. Charlie is struggling to cope and to fit in his high school at the start of his freshman year. He eventually befriends a pair of siblings, Patrick and his sister Sam, both of whom are seniors. Charlie also develops a crush on Sam, even though she told him to keep his feelings in check. Patrick is openly gay and is dating the popular high school quarterback, Brad, but on the down low because Brad is still afraid to come out. Charlie's relationship with Patrick and Sam deepens as the weeks pass. At one point, Sam even kisses Charlie, saying that she wanted his first kiss to be from somebody who loves him. This was related to Sam being sexually assaulted as a child, and would foreshadow the bombshell at the end. As Charlie comes out of his shell, he begins dating a pretty but self-centered senior named Mary Elizabeth. The relationship was one-sided as Mary Elizabeth only talked about herself and never seemed to care too much about Charlie. This is unsustainable, and the relationship came to an end during a game of Truth or Dare, when Charlie is dared to kiss the prettiest girl in the room. Instead of kissing Mary Elizabeth, he kissed Sam, even though she had a boyfriend. This upset the entire group and caused them to alienate Charlie. Charlie blamed it on the fact that his mind was still messed up from some LSD he had taken earlier in the story. Are you still with me? I know this is sounding more like a recap of a teen soap opera than a video on banned books, but it's all important, I promise. After the Truth or Dare debacle, Charlie was struggling to keep his emotions in check. He began seeing a psychiatrist and reading books assigned to him by his English teacher, Bill Anderson, who was taking Charlie under his wing. This helps Charlie get through the holidays, as his birthday falls on Christmas Eve, which of course is the anniversary of his beloved Aunt Helen's death. During this time, Charlie also grows closer to his sister. After witnessing her being assaulted by her boyfriend, she begs him not to tell her parents. Instead, he tells his English teacher, who, well, tells his parents. While his sister is upset, she knows Charlie only wants what's best for her, which is why later on in the novel, when her douchebag boyfriend gets her pregnant, she asks Charlie, who just got his license, to drive her to the abortion clinic. And while all this was happening, Patrick and his closeted quarterback boyfriend Brad were discovered by Brad's parents. Brad's father sent him off to rehab, and when he came back, Brad wouldn't even acknowledge Patrick. That was until one day when Patrick tried to talk to Brad, and Brad used a homophobic slur that we're not going to use on the channel here. Patrick lashed out at Brad, but Brad's football buddies all ganged up on Patrick. This continued until Charlie intervened, basically destroying two of Brad's teammates. After this incident, Patrick and Sam made up with Charlie and started letting him hang out again. The end of the school year was approaching, and Charlie was upset that all of his senior friends would be off to college next year. After prom, Sam found out that her boyfriend Craig had been cheating on her. They eventually broke up as Sam prepared to spend the summer away prepping for college. The day before Sam left, after a deep conversation with Charlie, things started to get sexual. This brought up some repressed memories of him being molested by his Aunt Helen as a child. Understandably, Charlie freaked out and started a downward spiral, leading him into a state of shock. And with his friends gone, he felt he had nobody to turn to. Eventually, his parents found him naked in a catatonic state, forcing them to check him into a psychiatric facility. Whew, enough teen drama for you? And while The Perks of Being a Wallflower touches on some sensitive issues, it also has a ton of positive themes throughout. The novel preaches about authenticity and acceptance, harps on friendship and the importance of building connections. The book teaches empathy and understanding. It dives into mental health and shows that it's okay to seek professional help. It invites the reader to take a deeper exploration of their own identity. But of course, dealing with topics like this in a book made for older teenagers and young adults is enough to get some people pretty pissed off. The drug references and explicitly sexual content have gotten this book banned or removed in many towns and districts throughout the country. In 2017, one middle school in Pasco, Florida, banned the book because they called the sexual references, and I quote, disgusting. Now, I'm from Boston originally, but I'm living in Florida now. Seeing what goes on around here, trying to ban a book in Florida doesn't surprise me one bit. What surprised me was that as adults, they think it's disgusting to talk about sex or drug use and have an open, honest discussion with their children. Yet they're the ones saying that only they should be the people to teach their kids about these subjects. But that's the issue. It's a cycle of ignorance. You have parents that are ignorant to these subjects, and if the kids get no other input other than what's coming from their ignorant parents, it creates a whole new generation of ignorance. Garbage in, garbage out. Now, I can almost guarantee that anybody my age who's read The Perks of Being a Wallflower found something in that story they can relate to, something that they can identify with. By all accounts, it's like reading the diary of the average high school teenager. It's full of confusion, experimentation, and emotions, good and bad. But parents would rather shelter their kids from these real-world issues instead of talking about them. It leaves kids unprepared for when these situations come up in the real world. And eventually they will, I guarantee it. It leads to the type of emotional repression we see in the story, as well as a lot of the ignorance we see in the world today. In Wallflower, they talk about problems any kid could face, even your own. And the story does have a positive undertone amidst all the angst and high school drama I mentioned. There's a line in the book that gets repeated, as it shows just how much Charlie is finally coming into his own when he says, "And in that moment, I swear we were infinite." Charlie echoes this sentiment again in his last letter. also making the decision that he wants to participate in his own life instead of just being a wallflower. Now jump down in the comments and let me know your thoughts on The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. And of course, let me know what you think about the book being banned. And before I go, I want to leave you with another quote from the book that really stuck with me. So I guess we are who we are for a lot of reasons, and maybe we'll never know most of them. But even if we don't have the power to choose where we come from, we can still choose where we go from there. We can still do things, and we can try to feel okay about them. Now on my channel, we know that banning books is a serious issue, and we want to help with resources that will give everybody access to the books they want to read. Last week I discussed local libraries, but another vital resource in the fight against banned books is social media. Believe it or not, for all the nonsense you can find out there, that's also a good place to connect with people and join the cause. From Facebook and Instagram groups to TikTok feeds and even podcasts, there are plenty of ways to join the fight. One podcast I've been listening to lately is New England's own Waberb podcast. That's WABRB. It stands for Wicked Awesome Bitches Reading Books. They cover all kinds of books, not just banned books, but their most recent series is on The Perks of Being a Wallflower, so if you want to take a deeper dive into the book that went from assigned reading to banned, go follow Waberb. I left the link in the description.
Thanks for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please help us join the cause here and support the fight against banned books. We want to try to do what we can to keep books available to anyone who wants to read them. And of course, don't forget to follow and smash that like button and hit the little bell icon so you'll be ready when my next video drops. Now, for my next video, we're going to be getting into banned religious texts. So this episode could get a little bit hairy. And that's like my face is finally growing back. I don't look like a little kid anymore. But definitely come back next week and check that out. And until then, get smashed, everyone.